Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 25th, 2011. Today, this is Gregory Hillman with b2review.com, and today we're going to be talking about composting. This is my first time with a real compost bin. Although I've tried to compost myself in apartments before, it only really started working now that I have a little bit of space, as you can see here, for a full bin. This area here was just a bunch of dirt, as you can see, near the bin. And I decided to do something with it. And I'd been watching a bunch of videos on YouTube about composting, ways to do it, vermiculture, using worms, and different types of bins that you could buy, different city programs that are offered. And I found that when you call the cities up to go to a class on composting, they only offer them very infrequently, maybe a couple times a year. And that just wasn't fast enough for me. They also sold compost bins, but they were like $100, $50, and I didn't want to spend that kind of money just to create soil at the time. So I saw a great idea about just building one out of these pallets. The pallets I picked up for free from a neighbor, but you can also just go and get pallets from a local store or large warehouse where they're just moving pallets in and out all the time, like an industrial store. Even Costco might give you pallets for free. So you build this pallet system on top of soil. This happens to be clay soil, so there really wasn't too much sense of digging it up when I could just create this new active soil on top of it. And on the top here I have kind of my three main ingredients that I'm using, which is water. In this case this is recycled water from some washing that we've done, but it has all biodegradable natural detergents. These are some kitchen scraps. I'd squeeze oranges and eat fresh squeezed orange juice every day, so we have plenty of oranges. And then these are some yard clippings that I have that I've just raked up, which is just leaves. Some of it's dried leaves, some of it's new grass, but it's just some basic clippings that'll go in about half and half green, half and half brown, and then it'll go into this bin. And you don't really need to have the cardboard on the sides, but for me I found that with these large slats for openings, either placing some bamboo in between the slats or just some cardboard helps keep the different pieces of compost inside the container. We've had a lot of wind recently, so that's helped out. But certainly you don't need it. It'll provide more aeration if you don't have it. So also, you can tell here, it's pretty recent stuff on top. I've read that you're not really supposed to add additional compost once the compost has been activated. But what I've been doing for the last 4 months, and again this is my first time composting, is just keeping the amount of materials in here filled to the top, and it eventually sinks down over a few weeks, and then I just fill it up again to the top. And a couple weeks ago I opened up the compost bin. Some people say you should really mix this as much as possible, if not a couple times a week, but what I've done is maybe every month or so I'll pull off these grates and then mix it up, and if there's any really rich good soil in the bottom, I'll put that into the containers like this one here, and we'll grow new plants. And there's a lot of reasons people have for composting. Most people compost, they say, to kind of reduce waste and reduce landfills, but I'm sure that's an added benefit. But for me, what I've found is that composting is the only way to get really good soil that is going to make plants thrive well. If you buy potting soil, you buy composted soil from the store, from some big chain, and you plant, say you planted 10 plants in that soil, and then you planted 10 plants in the soil that comes out of your own compost bin after a couple months of composting, you'll see the difference right away. The plants will thrive on the soil from the compost bin, will grow very quickly, will produce much better fruit or vegetables or whatever you're growing. And the soil that you get out of a chain store or a large nursery is just not going to work. The plants almost just stop and eventually die inside of their soil. So I've proven this many times over and over. I've got plenty of video and photos to back it up, so you can check this out as well. But this is what I found to be the most beneficial thing during composting, is just the great soil that you can use for food. So I'm going to show you just now what I'm going to do. Is I'm first going to put in some of my orange peels. Okay. And then I like to put the dry leaves on top, because that seems to keep the fruit flies down. And I've got all kinds of different animals inside of this bin. There are worms that are, it's thicker than my thumb and larger than this. There are also what I believe is called a super worm, which even has a flat top to it. It's circular, but then at the very end it's got a flat spoon-like surface. And don't forget to add water. It's best to put your compost bin close to where your kitchen is, where your food scraps are, and close to water, so that way it's easy to water frequently. I water this about every 3 days or even more frequently. Since it's large, it does need quite a bit of water to make sure the soil's at least a little moist. You don't want to overwater it, because then all the nutrients from the bin will spill out. But as you can tell here, the grass has started to grow near the compost bin. The bamboo has been doing even better next to the compost bin. But really, the soil that you get out of here and put in containers is worth its weight in gold, because it's just so rich in the nutrients that the plants need. So it's recycled water, recycled yard waste, recycled food scraps, and it'll make the best plants that you've ever seen. So I hope that you enjoy composting. Again, it's just 4 of these pallets nailed together. It took me about a day to create, and it'll take 3-4 months before you have really good compost. But fill it up to the brim as soon as you put it together, and add as much as you can to it. It's all organic. You don't want to use any kind of animal products like milk or the inside of the eggs or bones or things, because you can see what happens here is that the animals will start digging in and trying to get into your compost bin. You can see here around the sides there's little holes. But in general, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, pretty much everything that comes off of the dinner table you'll be able to add to your compost bin. So I hope you enjoy this. Hope it reduces your waste, but really I hope you can grow some great plants. And this is Gregory Hillman with b2review.com. Hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.